you volunteered with the Trump campaign to kind of see if what people were saying about racism and this and that was true.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't critiquing out of ignorance. I saw what he said on TV, but I also know how the media works, so I wanted to see it for myself. As a black man and as a oppressed person in this society, nobody used any racial slurs. Nobody called me the N-word. Nobody called me coon or anything. But it's not, for lack of a better word, it's microaggressions. You know, the way they look at you, the way, the way they talk about foreign policy and how they talk about oppressed groups when they don't think you're listening. And that's what you see at things like this event, and what you see at Trump. You see normal people who have these resentments towards minorities not able to voice them, because thankfully we have police language to the fact that that's not acceptable, but they still hold these, and this is their way to show that.
What'd you do for the campaign?
All I did was make calls.
Got to start somewhere. Were there other black people volunteering when you were there?
It was just me. It was just me.
About how many volunteers were there?
Today, I would say about 20.
Were they friendly to you? Did they include you?
Yes, and I think that was the scary part, that they were very friendly, that they were normal people, but in the back of their mind, they were advocating for, and openly they were advocating for Trump's policies, which are inherently exclusive to people who look like me.
So if there's like a disconnect, maybe they don't even realize that by banning Muslims, by talking about immigrants, deporting 11 million, that this is, xenophobia.
Right. I think that's a lot of it. I think a lot of it is ignorance, but I think a lot of it is that's been so accepted in our policies, whether they come from Democrat or Republican, they've been so accepted in our policies that they think it's okay to say.
What was it in Trump that made you feel like there is something to the racism?
I mean, you just have to look at the environment. This is not a condemnation of white people, but I feel that it's different. I get looks, as a person of color. People don't make eye contact with me. When I say hello, people move out the way. It's constantly, and the people you just interviewed, I mean, they go to my school. These are people who identify with those sentiments, and it shows in every mannerism and every facet of their lives. It may be a joke here or a microaggression here, but as you see in this environment, it's all white, Christian.
Feel like they look at you as like the other?
Yes, I think there is definitely a sense of otherism, and that's what Trump thinks. That's why Trump thinks he can win, because he thinks there are enough others to isolate to where he would win those votes. But I mean, in the reality, he just can't. I think there's a difference between hate speech and regular speech. Sure, everybody has the right to say whatever they want. They do, because this is America. However, there is something called respect, and Trump is not respectful. And there is something wrong with our society when we can glorify somebody openly that condemns Mexicans, a whole group of people that condemns Muslims. The basis on his campaign is to make America white again, and it speaks to fundamentalist Christian white middle-class Americans that feel like their power has been taken, even though that's a false accusation. They feel that because minorities are making strides that they are losing power, and when he speaks to that, there's no way he can be pro-black or pro-Hispanic or pro-minority and have that campaign. That's the scary part about the Trump campaign. It's everyday people, people we work with, people we at schools. They're people who hold these resentments, and as an African American, that's very scary to know that I could talk to somebody and they could hate me because of my skin color.